Hydrostatic skeletons involve something with water inside and something, usually muscle and connective tissue around them. Water is not very compressible, so if we take something that's enclosing water and we squeeze it in any dimension, that if we make it narrower, we have to make it longer. We make it extend. If we squeeze it this way, we have to make it fatter. Imagine that we have something simple with a hydrostatic skeleton like this. If we make a cut through it here and we look at that circle, we'd find circular muscles around the outside of the circle, and we'd also be cutting through longitudinal muscles. The longitudinal muscles looks like this because we're cutting through them. The longitudinal muscles would be going this way. Each of these is a muscle cell, and the circular muscles would be like that. So if we have a hydrostatic skeleton, if an animal has a hydrostatic skeleton and we contract circular muscles, it has to extend. Those cells get shorter and fatter. They put pressure on the fluid, and that makes it extend. To contract the whole animal, we need to contract all of the longitudinal muscles at once. So if we contracted all of the longitudinal muscles, we'll retract. For a more complex shape, you have to consider each part individually. To bend a tentacle, contract just these. To stretch a tentacle, contract circular muscle. To shorten the whole animal, shorten all of the longitudinal muscles at once, and we'll wind up with a shorter, fatter animal. Let's solve a couple of problems. What if we want to contract the body, bend to the right, and extend tentacles all at the time? Here's our cnidarian. We want to contract the body, we want to bend it to the right, and we want to extend the tentacles. Well, to do that, we would need to contract longitudinal muscle in the body, and to get a bend, we'd want to contract these more strongly. To extend the tentacles, we'd want to contract circular muscle. So if you were going to show this in a sketch, if you started with just what's in black here, what you'd want to draw is a bend, and you'd want it shorter and fatter, and you'd want the tentacles to be longer and thinner. And to show that, you would show what about an annelid worm? Well, we've got an annelid worm. Maybe it's in some hole, and we want it to expand the posterior. So expand the posterior, which might push it against the walls of the tube, and extend the anterior and bend it. So to do that, we want our worm to expand, so we're going to contract longitudinal muscles here, and then we want to contract circular muscles here. And so we're simultaneously pushing against the walls of this tube while we extend the worm out, maybe to feed. And if we wanted to bend slightly to one side, we'd contract longitudinal muscles on the right side slightly.